What's up, y'all? DJ LV, the Baysesh, 89.5 FM, KZCT, OzCat Radio Vallejo, and Ganapolitan Magazine. I'm here at the Jarvis Center in New York City at the Cannabis World Business Expo 2023. And I have sitting down here with the founder of the 2022 founded Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association, Rob Pero. He is Chippewa and Oneida. Oneida, sorry. Oneida is not a tribe I'm familiar with, but that's just awesome because we are here, and just him being here and having this booth, I'm sure there's like tons of Native people that have come up to you from all tribes, and it's really about like a intertribal unification here at this point. So you are the founder of this organization. You founded it last year, correct? Why and what is it?
Yeah, so I founded the organization last year out of a necessity to move some policy in my own state. As a business owner and a hemp grower for the last 4 years, it was very frustrating just being in a state where we couldn't move to THC. So we're just kind of, the CBD boom happened, we grew, everybody grew, the bubble popped. Then we're sitting in a state where...
Which state is that?
Wisconsin, where every state around us is legal, and we're basically going across border to get our THC. So I needed to do something, for my business, for the indigenous community, because I've worked in that field in economic development, workforce development for a dozen years. So I started a nonprofit, a big advocacy group, a trades association to kind of open source everything, provide consulting, empowerment, advocacy, technical assistance, mentorship, and really like level up our tribal decision making upon point of entry into the space. So for me, it was going to help my business. In turn, it turned into this big, massive, beautiful thing, and now it's a landslide.
How many? So this is it's huge. I mean, how many tribes are there? There's hundreds of tribes. How many tribes have you involved so far, and which ones?
There's 574 federally recognized tribes in the U.S. right now, but indigenous nations, I don't know what that number is worldwide. And we don't have borders on what our trade association is and where it is. This is an indigenous association, so that's worldly. So for us, we have tribes that have participated and not necessarily joined ICIA, but they have arms of development arms that manage their businesses around hemp and cannabis. So typically, those arms will join ICIA rather than the tribes themselves. But go ahead.
Who are the tribal leaders right now in cannabis and hemp production, and where? What states?
Well, Pechanga, you're seeing Shinnecock and the Seneca out on the East Coast really step it up. You're seeing the Eastern Band of Cherokee in North Carolina do some innovative things in a state where it's not legal, and they have legal THC on their reservation. So
but we can have that. I've been saying it for years. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but as you may or may not know, a lot of tribes have been afraid to take that leap of faith. My tribe in particular is, a lot of the people on my tribe are very dependent on federal funding, so the risk of losing that federal funding and stepping into the cannabis and hemp sphere has not been something that the older tribal members have been willing to take on. Now we have a council member on our tribal council who's at least talking about it and trying to make some plans there. But have you seen a lot of success from the tribes who have taken that leap of faith, and have they lost their federal funding, or has that been a problem for the poorer people on the tribes?
We haven't heard of a case where a tribe has been stripped of their federal funding for entering cannabis. We know that that's kind of an old wives' tale that's out there, but really, what our goal is to bring together the resources so that we can pool our legal teams together and pool our financial experts together to make sure that we have peace of mind and we have solvency, so we're not using gaming funds to go into a federal one. But also, there is a lot of power in our sovereignty, and when you get people together and you get organized and you combine those collective resources, you have a backbone. You have a backbone of support, and now you have an advocate in your corner. So that's what we're seeing the tribes do. They see ICIA as sort of this table that's built by us for us, and we get to control who sits at that table and the decisions that get made from that table.
What what are the biggest barriers to entries for tribes right now getting into cannabis or hemp?
Inexperience. There's a lot of predatory consultants out there that are taking advantage of tribes, and there's been a lot of bad things that have happened. And there's also a lot of just inexperience, really well-intended plans just lack of experience and resources to execute on those plans. Tribal governments are, they're all nuanced, they're all different. Leadership changes there every few years, so that typically means that the business decisions change too. So it's really tough to find a balance, and one of the things that we want to do is provide mentorship tribe to tribe and tribal business to tribe, so that there's just more open communication about how we can fill the gaps in our capacity.
Awesome. And who you said who's really succeeding out there that you're working with?
Well, the stories of what the Eastern Band of Cherokee is doing, being bold and having THC before the state does, that's a massive story. It's groundbreaking. Now, on the other end of that, there's issues in regards to what their feasibility and their planning is around that, the initial budget, and now what this group is asking for more money. So it's always complex. Nothing is ever. There's no roadmap that is clear in cannabis. It still is kind of the Wild West. So I think what you're seeing at Pechanga is a tribe that has stepped up. They've hosted now, this will be the 8th Native Cannabis and Hemp Conference as a tribe, hosting and inviting other tribes. That is a tribe that has really stepped up and opened it for others to be inclusive and say, hey, come learn from us.
What do you think tribes should learn and not take over from the casino situation? What needs to change in this new sovereign-based entrepreneurship that tribes are going to take on that we shouldn't do again with the casino situations?
Yeah, I think there's always lessons learned. The casino situation, was really did the government feel that we were responsible enough to handle this, as an industry? And we proved them right that we are. With that, you saw kind of an umbrella of IGA provide sort of that collective benefit for all the tribes to be able to work together under one umbrella for gaming. I don't see this being the same way necessarily. I want there to be, autonomy, and these are sovereign nations. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to join ICA to go get into cannabis. But just overall, I think there's still a ton of apprehension. There's still just a ton of fear and stigma within the communities. Gaming tends to be the place where you go get a job, and that is not what we want this to be. You can just go get a job. We want this to be a career in cannabis and hemp, and that's housing, that's biofuels, that's testing, that's legal, that's finance, that's consulting, that's growing, cultivation, processing, all the things. Those are career paths, not just going to work at the casino.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. And what are you seeing that you're excited about for this, near future? This has just got started. 2023 started in 2022, but it must be taking off pretty hard. So what's up coming up?
There's so much. I just thankful for MJ and our staff and people like you that show interest in what we have going on and want to lift it up. We know how important this is, and this is way bigger than me or MJ, and this will be here way longer than I'm on this earth. Doing good things for our people and elevating, our voice that, we want to stake claim to this industry. We want to lead it. We should. This is a native plant. If it grows on our land, we should be able to protect it and consume it in any way. So this is just the beginning. It's been about a year. I cannot even explain how overwhelmed we are with the support and the outreach, and we need help. We need more people to help build this.
Awesome. So what can people do to help?
Well, you can go to indigenouscannabis.org. You can become a friend of ICIA if you're a business, a consultant, any way that you're touching the industry or you want to get involved. Come join us. There's different levels of support. We are a member and sponsor and partner-driven organization, and that money goes back into data for our tribes and toolkits for our tribes and our tribal businesses to make better decisions. We're doing national surveys on medicinal and industrial and just overall stigma in regards to our tribes and how we can move this forward the right way. But please come to indigenouscannabis.org. Check us out. Come to one of our events. We have our the second ever Indigenous DC Policy Summit in Washington, D.C., November 15th and 16th. We'd love to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time in the interview today. It's a beautiful necklace you have here. Can't see it on the camera. You can show it to them. That's really Candigenous. And that's your brand, right? Yeah, Candigenous. He's got a whole thing here. I'll take some pictures and show y'all. So thank you for tuning in. Follow the Indigenous Cannabis Industry Association, Indigenous Cannabis website one more time.
Indigenouscannabis.org.
Follow, join, become a friend. Thank you so much, DJ LV, OzCat Radio, Baysesh, Canapolitan Magazine, New York City. You know what it is.